council got the cool ones.
I can't hear you.
You guys are.
Can you hear me though, Mom?
I can't hear you at all.
Okay.
This is how I live my life at home. No one listens to
Do
me.
you mind sticking
So
out
the
like
very
that?
beginning, my intros and stuff aren't really great yet, but
Donnie, it's okay.
we're gonna
Stick
figure
out like
that out
Donnie's
later.
doing.
Yeah, you're the only one that got normal ones.
Here's your, all right, hold on.
These
Am I supposed to wear these the whole time?
No.
You're gonna like them.
Look at me, three-fisted drinker.
Oh, I can hear you. That's crazy. Can you hear me? Oh, I can hear me. Oh no.
I can hear me.
All right. Joe, can we hear you though? That's gonna be the question. Can we hear you?
Can we unplug his?
Say something, let's hear you. Come on. Huh?
Uh-oh.
Hey, we can hear you now.
That's like really loud.
That's really loud.
Is it too loud for you guys?
Is that what I sound like? Hello?
Is it too loud? I don't want it to keep hitting you up. All right, so these mics you gotta be kind of, not real close to, but let me see.
Can you hear that? If I play with cars over here?
Yeah,
Sorry.
yep, okay. All right, so welcome back to the Not Influence Show, episode 2. The first episode filming here in Alpine Ford. Big thanks to them, the owners and management team here in Pueblo at Alpine Ford, for giving me the opportunity to use my office to start doing this. And tonight's guest is Joe Barry, Michelle Barry, and Joey Barry. So what's up?
Hi, Donnie.
Hey, Joe.
How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good.
Cool. I'm going to slide that so you can...
You're kind of quiet over there.
Is it really quiet?
No, you're good. You just got to be a little closer.
It's really loud in my ears.
Is it? I'll turn it down. So I think you're probably... How's that?
That's better.
Is that better?
Much.
Okay, cool. Good deal. So, how you doing, Michelle?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Donnie?
I'm good. How about you, Joey?
I'm great.
Cool. So, yeah, you know, we had planned on being at the track today, but the weather had different plans.
That it did.
It's always tough to cancel any kind of racing for me, you know?
Yeah, but with any luck, this will be the only time this year.
I hope so.
So, and it's a test day.
Yep.
It'll make the first race more interesting.
Yep.
It's going to really make these guys work harder. So
Yep.
I think there's more positives than any negative.
Yeah.
I mean, myself, I'm sure the racers don't feel that way.
Probably not. It's tough because you just never know what Colorado weather's going to do. So either you cancel too early or you cancel too late. Nobody wants you to cancel, but I think this time we obviously called it right, you know?
Yep. No, it's, I mean, there's no way to guess what the weather's going to be like. And I think you saved the people, at least the northern Colorado people and Wyoming people, a trip
Definitely.
so they could plan better.
Yep. But so what have you guys been up to lately?
Just work, and someone goes to school, says he's busy doing homework all the time, but
Is that right?
That's all I do.
School and homework?
That's it.
I hear you.
So fun.
Yep. Yep. So one of the things I wanted to talk about to start off with is what got, because I know a little bit of the story. I know you and Michelle been racing together a long time, even before Joey was born, right?
Yeah.
So
Probably
what
10 years before he was born, I'd guess.
So what got you started into racing?
That's a good question. I really don't know what when we started, we had a car that was more like a show car. I don't think we ever really planned on racing.
Right.
I don't really know how we, crossed over from, trying to have a show car to going racing, to be honest. I know back in the 90s we did Super Chevy, which is a big car show and drag racing. So
Right.
that probably had some of it to do with it, but I can't really say what really pushed us in that direction more than just doing car show stuff or that kind of stuff.
But you fell in love with it right away, right?
Something happened. It's a terrible addiction is what it is. I mean, it's just like you just always broke because you're always spending money on a race car,
Right.
whether it's building it or fixing it after it broke. But that's just the process, I guess.
So how long after you started racing before you got the creamsicle?
Well, we've always had the same car. I think our first race we raced in
Phoenix?
in Pueblo. We raced in '89 in Pueblo with it, and then we went to Phoenix in the '90s for Super Chevy, and we raced it like it was then with I always called it the circus paint, up until '96, '97. And then at that point, I mean, the car wasn't competitive at all at any of the street car type events.
Right.
So we took it apart and sent it to Jerry Bickle, and that's what transformed into the creamsicle.
Yeah.
So I think the first time we took the car out in 2001 to Super Chevy after it was done, and then we started racing PSCA and NMCA in 2002.
You did that for a while, right?
We did that till 2007, somewhere in there. Whenever they started to really pay attention to the rules and the cars going fast at weight, and they pretty much told us we couldn't race anymore based on the weight of the car.
Right.
So we sat out for till about 2009, 2010,
Right.
and we decided to go drag and drive racing because there wasn't rules per se that affected us. And somewhere in between those years, we quit drag racing to drag and drive. They came out, NHRA had SFI come out with like 25.3,
Right.
which then we were legal. But by then, all the heavy classes had pretty much went by the wayside.
Right.
So it wasn't something that you just jump back into, because at that point, if you don't have a class, you either cut up the car and lighten it up to race, because class racing, you have to meet the rules specifically just to be competitive.
Right.
It's not only to be legal for the class, but if, there's a minimum weight, you need to be at that minimum weight.
Right.
Because if not, there's going to be 5 other cars that are going to be more competitive.
So when you started doing the dragon drives, you guys definitely fell in love with that, right?
It was a lot of fun. I mean, it was a lot different atmosphere from class racing, because class racing, it's you against everyone.
Right.
And the drag and drive thing was just a group of people all trying to do the same thing, to make it from track to track. Obviously you're still competing to see how fast you can go, but it's just a different atmosphere. And it's something you did with your friends, I guess you could say.
And you guys accomplished a lot in drag and drive too, right?
Yeah, I mean, out of all the years, we did it, I don't know, for like drag week, we probably did it 10 times. And I think we didn't complete it 2 times out of all those years. that we broke. So, I mean, I think it was a good accomplishment. Because in the early years, till probably 5 years ago, you were pretty much innovating everything you did. Now it's a little, I hate to use the word easier, but a guy can go and buy all the parts off the internet. He can pay attention to what other guys do, and you can have competitive drag and drive car without having to go through the effort of figuring everything out on your own.
Right.
Which I don't blame anyone for doing that. I do the same. It just was different when we all started. We kind of learned as we went, oh, that didn't work. Let's try something else.
Right.
And now you can get on the internet and you can figure out everything you need, all the parts you need, and you can go compete.
Yeah. And you started racing in Pueblo, what year did you say? You guess?
I have video of the car we have now in '89 racing at the track. I mean, we raced before that. I had a Mustang in high school, so maybe 86, 87, somewhere in there.
Right.
That I would have raced out there. You figure when we used to first go out there, the Friday nights it was crazy. I mean, all the lanes were full all the way to the back, and we'd stand at the fence, and I mean, there'd be 3 or 4 people in front of you just to stand at the fence to watch.
Right.
I mean, it was different. That was how everyone spent their Friday night. You went there on Friday night, and you went cruising on Saturday night.
And this year's the 50th year of Pueblo Motorsports Park.
It's crazy.
It's just cool that it's 50 years and it's still a track when a lot of other tracks are closing down,
Yep. Well, and I think it's nice that the venue has not just drag racing. You have the road course.
Yeah.
You have the dirt track, and I think at one time the quarter midgets, if I'm not.
There's still the Southern Colorado Quarter Midget Association still races, the kids do, inside the fences of the road course and drag strip. They just, they kind of fall under the drag strip road course lease. But then there's the dirt track too, Honor Speedway. And then there's a motocross track that does a few races a year there too, run by Jeff Greenwood. And last weekend, all 3 tracks, it was opening day for all 3. It was kind of cool. So we had 138 cars doing test and tune, and they had a huge amount of dirt bikes at the motocross race. So
No, that's a positive. I mean, it just it's important that the people, whether they're racing or spectating, to come down to the track.
yeah, what's funny, Joey?
I can hear his chair squeaking
His
through the mic.
Yeah,
What am I doing?
he's squeaking.
Every time your chair moves and your knee rubs against the desk, I can hear it in the mic.
Sorry.
But and Joey, you been down to Pueblo your whole life then, right?
Yep, pretty much.
And you licensed there.
Yep. I got my NHRA license and his car there, and
Yeah.
that was cool.
Yeah.
All in one day, all 6 passes.
Yep. I've got a picture of it with the licensing on, like LIC on the windshield and passenger side.
Wasn't it on your birthday too?
Yeah, that was on my birthday. I had long hair. That was the day.
Yeah. Yep. You got all 6 done in that one day, so that was cool. For sure.
Yeah, that wasn't stressful at all. What?
None.
You're looking at me funny.
Was it stressful for you when he was licensing?
No, it wasn't too bad. I don't think. I mean, it went pretty smooth.
Yeah. I remember.
It was a
the
very
day.
laid back day.
Yeah. It was cool.
You just like to really stand by the car real awkwardly while I was up there, though. And that stressed me out worse. Because, I'd be sitting in there after the burnout, and I'm sitting there, and you're just standing there, real awkwardly on the start. You're like, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. You're just standing there.
Did it stress you out, Michelle?
It was stressful, but I mean, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know, so he's going to be okay. He's in a safe car, and he's been around it his whole life.
Yep.
So I was okay. It was a relief when he went down, made a full pass. To me, it was just like a huge relief that he did well and everything went good.
And you got your car close to being ready to come out, and
Soon, hopefully.
yeah.
We could hope. Maybe.
How much longer you think?
I don't know. I gotta buy injectors and then stuff for the fuel system.
That's cool. So you're getting there for sure.
Yep.
And Michelle, you got your car.
My car gets taken apart and put together and taken apart, and maybe it'll get put back together again soon.
It's gonna be a nice one.
Thank you. I hope so.
And you did all the tin work in it, right?
I did. I got to do it again.
You do? Why?
Oh, it got taken apart and some chassis work done to it, and so I
Oh,
got
so
to
you got
redo
it. Yeah.
I got to redo all of it, which is okay. There were a few mistakes that I knew I did, and Joe and Joey said nobody'd ever see them, but you know they're there, so that'll be good. I've learned, I've practiced and done some other things, so it should be good. It should turn out okay.
You taught yourself how to do it, right?
I
the
did.
most
It was
part?
trial and error, and
Yeah.
it took a long time. Joe asked me if I wanted to send it off to a shop or he would buy the equipment and I could try it. So I told him I wanted the equipment, and away we went. And honestly, the hardest part was trying to figure out what was in Joe's mind and building that. That was probably the hardest struggle, trying to figure out, like what it's supposed to look like and what he's
Right.
thinking, and then actually implementing it and getting it done. But I thought it turned out pretty good, and then it all got ripped out. But that's okay. It'll
Right.
be better. It'll be better.
Yeah. And so now, as far as Pueblo goes, we're all involved in Steel City No Prep, right? That's become a labor of love for everybody, I think, right?
It has.
Been some trying times too, for sure.
It's hard if you have a bunch of passionate people. I mean, you're all trying to accomplish the same goal, but it doesn't always. It's not easy. There's no easy part about it.
I'd like to think we probably make it look easy, though. I think we got a good team, honestly.
No, I mean it has only got better, without a doubt. I mean, I think it's just. I think we all learn as we go. I mean, for all of us, we're amateurs,
Yep.
you know.
And I don't mean when I say I think we make it look easy, I don't by any means trying to imply that we're
No.
great or better than anybody else, but I think that it's gotten pretty smooth, and that I think sometimes people from the outside looking in may not realize the level of work that everybody puts into what they do. From, you flagging the races, Joey and Evan and Trevor helping with tech and tire crack cameras, and then, of course, Michelle helping with classes, and there's other people too, Ashley, Jasmine, Rachel, that all are doing it for nothing, except for to have a good race for people to come and race at. And, I just think it's the perfect venue for backside racing too. I think if more people knew about it, outside of Colorado, unless the elevation kept them scared to come up, I think, though, that the surface is, and the program is good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I talk to a lot of people, and everyone says they want to come out. I mean, there's just a lot going on, and it's tough. We're right on the edge of the Midwest. So you can, on any given weekend, you may have 4, 5, 6 events going on. So everyone looks like what is closest to your home,
Right.
So that I think has a big factor. But hopefully this year, I mean, I've talked to a lot of people that have specifically asked about the race, and that's something new for this year,
Right.
you know. And so we'll just see if they show up. I mean, that's one of the things. It's just, I think once they show up, they'd have a whole different outlook as
Yeah.
far as that goes. I think the payout has been really good. I don't think it's ever been something we have said one thing and changed it. I think it's always been, you know, and that's a big accomplishment in its own, because that doesn't happen. You know, there's a lot of times a race will be, you know, announced with this payout, and when the people show up, well, we didn't have the turnout. Sorry, we're going to cut it in half or do that. That's not something that's happened with us.
And I should mention, you know, two names I didn't mention that have always been a big help is Matt and June too.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, from sponsoring and helping work and clean up on the starting line, and June in that merch bus. I forget what they call the bus now, the magic bus or something. I don't know. But, you know, I think the vibe at every Steel City race has been good overall, you know. For the most part, everybody gets along and
No, I mean,
it's a good time.
it's everything is. I mean, the thing is we all do this. It's a hobby, you know, and it's something we do to have fun. And you know, a lot of times, guys will get so passionate and competitive, they lose sight of that. So it doesn't always. They don't allow themselves to have fun. But the majority, we're all having fun. I mean, that's what we're there for. I mean, is to have a good time. Yeah. Otherwise, we may as well go to the dentist office that day and get a root canal. I mean, it's just, you know, because how can you beat that? I mean, you come down to the track, it's a laid back atmosphere, it's a nominal fee, and you get a race. And you know, if you go out, you can come back. You can come and make passes. You know, we always allow everyone to make passes in between rounds. So I mean, that's a pretty good gig.
Yeah.
You know, it's I don't know. I think it's a pretty neat race. I mean, and not just because I get to be part of it, but I think it's a really neat race, and I think it's good for the racers. I mean, it's good for the street racers. Gives them a place to come and race, safe. You know, you don't have to worry about anything, and it's a good deal.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about the cops or, you know, and there's EMTs there, sand trap at the end of the track since we're running the same way. Yeah. So,
But
what is mine squeaking now?
am I doing it again?
You've been doing it the whole time.
My God. Hopefully you can filter that out.
Yeah, well, if not, that's all right.
Can you hear it?
A little bit here
Sorry.
and there.
Can you hear this?
Yep.
But no, I mean it's a neat gig. I don't. I think it's only positives. I can't say there's any negatives. You know, and it's hopefully we keep going.
Yeah. I mean, this is the fourth season of pretty much the same team for the most part
You know, and
from day one.
you know, and what are we, a month away from?
The first race is May 24th. So, you know, and some changes, like Joey's definitely been taking the rules and the tech stuff very serious. Trevor and Evan. And you and Trevor just took the test to do actual NHRA tech as well, too. So I think that's a big addition, going to speed up the tech process. Don't you think so? If you guys are doing both?
Yeah, because then we can just go through a car completely start to finish, and we don't have to wait for anybody else.
Yeah.
We can just go through it, be done, send them on their way.
And since at the track, the tech station is also the fuel station that frees up Jerry if somebody needs nitrous or CO2 or fuel or whatever. He doesn't have to necessarily do the actual tech inspection on every car. So
Should just let people get through a lot quicker. Maybe we won't get so many cars piled up in the tech lane.
yeah, you know, I'm definitely looking forward to this season, the fourth one. I think it's going to be fun. But going back a little bit to Pueblo and your racing there, you know, I was hoping maybe you could share a couple stories of, you know, your experience at the track as far as safety goes and going fast as well. Like, you know, how you feel about, you know, the track safety program. And
Well, I mean, if anything, if anyone ever questions whether I think it's safe or not, I can tell you my son would never be in the car making passes there.
yeah,
And he's been in the car. He's made, I don't know, dozen passes there. I mean, it's not something I worry about as far as that goes. And I wouldn't put him in
right.
something that wasn't safe. So, I mean, that alone, I would say, should make
It's a
people.
testament, yeah.
I mean, that's, you know, I think, you know, things happen. It doesn't matter what track
Any
you're
track.
at. I mean, things happen. You know, it could be driver error, it could be a parts failure, whatever. So, I think that Pueblo does as good a job as any track out there. You have Dave there that's extremely. I mean,
He's been there a long time.
he's been there a
too.
long time, you know, and you'll get folks to say different things in a negative light, but you will not find anyone more passionate about making sure the track is safe
100%.
and is up to his standard. And it just if you just take a step back and watch how important it is to him. You know, Dave, I look at it like this. Dave actually lives on the facility. So Dave walks out of his front door off his steps. His front yard is that racetrack.
Yep.
So imagine the guy, your next door neighbor, that takes care of his yard perfectly. That is Dave.
Yeah.
You know, he walks out, that starting line, that track is Dave. So, I mean, he takes care of it.
It's funny. I told him I'm going to get him a sign that, you know, for his address is 1420 Steel City Street. Because, you know, our starting line is 100 feet basically from the 1320. So, and his, you know, residence is basically right there. So, excuse me. But
But he does good. I mean, I don't know, maybe people catch me, but like when I'm starting the cars, if I question something on the track or the weather, I will be looking for Dave, you know, because he always, you know, I always seem to make the call when it's there, but I will look for Dave just to make sure I'm doing the right thing because
right.
obviously his experience and, I mean, he knows what's best when it comes down to it. You know, I look at things from a racer standpoint, which isn't maybe always safest,
Right.
you know, versus him. He's looking out for the racer themselves, not them having a one-track mind of going down the track regardless of the condition of the track.
And Dave helped you out of a pretty scary situation
Yeah,
in the
we
past,
had
right?
I don't know when it was. We had a fire down there and had to be 2010, 2011. And we had the fuel vent dumped in the back of the car right above the rear end, and I have carbon brakes. So I get on the brakes hard, they glow. Well, they will ignite the fuel vapors. And so we had to ignite fuel vapors at the track. And I don't think anyone that was with me, part of my crew, caught the flash of light right away because you can watch the video. But Dave and that group, I mean, they went down there. I mean, Greg's been with us since beginning. But I think Greg had turned around. He didn't even realize the car was on fire. But Dave was down there pretty quick, and it was good because I with the way as quickly as the fire spread inside the car, I wasn't really coherent with getting out of the car or where I was at.
Right.
And eventually I got out of the car, and I remember laying on the ground, and Dave comes down there to check on me, and that's when I haven't seen Dave over the years. That's one of the first things he'll say. Remember that fire?
Yeah, he's definitely dedicated to safety, and he's not afraid to go and try to make sure somebody's okay and to keep everybody safe for sure.
He was down there, and I mean, he was always good, and I mean,
I've never known the track without Dave coming from Virginia, and I can't imagine the track without Dave, to be honest.
no, I mean, because you figure all the off time that people aren't racing there, he's busy fixing and updating. I mean, I've been down there, and he'll be in the shop doing something. What are you doing, Dave? Well, I'm doing this or I'm doing that. Yeah. So, I mean, it doesn't end when the season ends. He's still there working.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal. I mean, the track doesn't just miraculously open with all this stuff, maintenance or whatever. It's because he's been working on it for 3, 4, 5 months, whatever it might be.
Yeah. He just, I don't know if you saw the post on the track's page, Facebook page, but Dave had some concern at the end of last season about the light pole that's, just south of the burnout box, turn 10 of the road course. And he had started sharing that concern with me towards the end of the season last year that it was leaning, but without walking over there and looking at it when he first was telling me that, I didn't really think it was leaning any more than what it had been, but he was keeping a really good eye on it and kept telling me, nah, man, it's leaning more and more and more. And, that thing was, becoming a concern. So he pushed to have the city come out and look at it. And when they did, they found that, it was structurally not in a good spot. So they moved it 5 feet. They had Morton Electric come out and use a crane and put a new caisson in the ground and move that whole light pole. But that could have been ugly if everybody would just blown it off and not listen to Dave and something happened, with people in the staging lanes or on the starting line. Who knows which way that thing would have went. I mean, I think it's got to be 70 feet tall.
Yeah, it's up there.
Because I was in a man basket once trying to go up there and was like, nah, get me down. And I'm not really afraid of heights, but, you're just booming up towards just a pole.
Yeah, that's...
And it was windy. I could see lightning off in the distance. Dave was laughing at me, but, hey, he didn't go up there either, though, until the next day. Because you could, you're that high up.
Yeah, that's not for me.
So you haven't been down yet this spring-ish yet, right?
No.
So when you do come down, you have to come up in the tower because they're paving that new road. And it's only about 500 yards from that light pole.
Really?
Is where it comes behind the track. So I'm hoping that we'll get another entrance to the facility from that road, but, I'm going to think positive. There's a lot of people who are like, on that test and tune day, I stayed in the staging lanes all day. We were a little short-handed. There's still a couple of kids in college that haven't come home yet. And, but people would come up to me in the staging lanes because they were still working. There was people out there working that Saturday, running back and forth. They were doing paving that day. They had a roller out there. And, seems like some people are concerned, is that the beginning of the end? And not that I've been told by the city or anybody, I hope not. I just hope it becomes something positive with another entrance in the facility, maybe Racers Gate, Spectators Gate.
That would be really cool, actually.
Make getting in a little better, a little easier for everybody.
Yeah, that would be neat.
Yeah. I mean, I love the place. I wouldn't keep going down there either if I didn't, And I love all the racers that come and race there, and Dave and Larry Myers and Jerry and Elena. It's too many people, and I've said that before on Tommy and Sal's podcast, Cisneros Speedworks, that I probably shouldn't start naming names because I'm going to forget somebody. But everybody who's been there the last few years especially is there because they love to be a part of drag racing. And, it's hard to think about not being a part of a team like that, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that's not what it means. I mean, time will tell. I mean, it's just, if all they do is keep up the prisoners, I think we're okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that thing's huge now too.
I know we drove by when we came out here.
You did?
And that's I mean, last year I don't know how much of the structure, but it's a big facility.
Yeah, so for anybody not watching, we're talking about the new, I think it's the Sheriff's Center and also the new jail for the city of Pueblo, and you can see it from the staging lanes, starting line of the track here in Pueblo, and that road that I was talking about goes through there. So, but hey, maybe it'll be easier to be in jail. You get to hear hot rods,
I don't know. Maybe it'll shed some light on the track too, where law enforcement, maybe can work with the track to get the kids off the street.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think that's the biggest problem you have is the younger kids, racing around on the street, using the excuse they don't have a place to go, which there is a place to go. Just, maybe they need a little bit of push that way.
That's the craziest thing to me too, is you'd be surprised how many people in Pueblo don't even know that the track is there. That makes me feel bad because it makes me feel like I'm not doing enough to scream from the rooftops that it is there. But there's people that I meet even here in the dealership that are from Pueblo and don't even know that the track exists.
No, it's crazy. People live in their own little world, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, if you're a racer, you usually seek that stuff out.
Yeah.
You would
we have a
think
good
anyway.
group. We definitely have a good, there's a lot of bracket racers, like strong road course program. Steel City that we've been doing for 4 years now, coming up on the 4th year. Pretty excited about the front side.
Yeah, no, the front side definitely. I mean, the last couple seemed like they were really had good turnouts. And I think it's only gets better as you go along
Yep.
because the word of mouth is usually really positive.
Yep. What do you think? How do you think this year's going to play out, Joey?
I think it'll be good.
Think so?
Yep.
I know you got a lot of people hitting you up asking about rules and stuff, right?
A lot of interest in that.
Some
Wondering
new
what
people?
class they fit. Yeah, couple.
I definitely appreciate you handling that part of it because you're probably nicer than I am.
Doubtful. Very doubtful.
But, another part that's cool, there's a lot of families that race still sit on the backside with us too. I'm excited to see some of the cars that are going to be out this year.
Yeah, there's definitely some new cars,
Yep.
and it's because of their family. Someone else in their family's been racing it.
Yeah. Yep. And what's your plans for racing this year?
We're going to try to do the Havlik still. I mean, that's kind of our main goal right now.
And when is that again?
It's in August, first or second week in August, I think. So that's our goal. And we got to do some maintenance and stuff to the car that we just haven't sat down and done. So we need to work on that.
Yeah.
And then we got a car that Joey's been working on for, I don't know, last year.
Randy's?
Yeah, doing some.
That's getting close though, right?
It finally starts on its own. It's
cool.
super easy.
So if we can get that out of there, that's just it's one of those things that's always, I don't want to say it's a burden, but it's always something that it needs to be finished so it isn't taking the time out.
You think Randy will come race Steel City when he comes pick it up?
I have a feeling that it'll probably stay here, I would guess, for the whole year, so it wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't.
It'd be cool to see him come race. He came and raced in your car last year, right?
Yeah, he did, and I mean, a lot of people remember Randy.
Daily.
Went from, because that's where he used to race that car back in the day. I mean, they'd always be in Pueblo.
Yeah.
Because they would flat tow it down there, and it was the closest way to flat tow it.
Yeah, that car has a pretty long Colorado history for sure, right?
Yeah, I mean, its whole life was meant street racing. I mean, Randy was always the guy. He was on his own. Everyone wanted to race him, and back then the car was fast. I didn't know Randy. It was always just the purple Trans Am.
Right.
And for the longest time, no one could beat Randy, so he started racing the bikes because that was where he could get the competition. And so he did that for the longest of time. But, of course, with the racing or the street racing, you end up with a lot of enemies, I guess.
Right.
No, I think a lot of people would be excited to see the car. I mean,
I think he had fun when he was down there.
He did. He had a good time. I mean, he's
He raced your Mercedes and grocery getter, right?
Yeah. I mean, the whole plan today was Joey's going to drive the car to the track today.
Oh, if we were gonna,
just to put miles on it.
Yeah, that'd have been.
And that was the whole plan, and obviously,
yeah, the weather got us.
Out, but that was the whole idea, was to drive it down, just to put some miles on it, just to still trying to work through the bugs of the EFI system, because I shouldn't say we, Joey is trying to figure it out by learning it himself.
Yeah. Because you're tuning Randy's car now, right?
Just trying to get it to run and start. I mean, we're going to take it to the dyno out in Chicago this summer and actually get it properly tuned so we can use the flex fuel sensor and stuff. But like when we first put the ECU and the motor in there, it wouldn't start at all. And we figured out finally that the crank sensor and stuff was set up wrong in the ECU. And then there's a whole bunch of weird stuff in there. Like it was set up it was trying to run off mass flow and VE at the same time. And that just doesn't, I mean, if you expected that, it'd be fine. But I didn't expect it. So it just was having a hissy fit. And then it was a bunch of weird stuff with the sensors. Stuff was just configured wrong. And so like it would start. So eventually I got to where it would start, but then it wouldn't rev up. And then it does really goofy stuff too, because it has a bypass on the blower because it's got the Whipple on it. And so anything over it sits in idles at it has a slight vacuum, but it's low. It's like 80 kPa up here, just absolute pressure. But as soon as the bypass shuts on the blower, the VE shoots through the roof. So it'll idle at 30% VE. But the second the bypass closes, even though you're only up at 90 kPa, it jumps to 60% VE. And it's just super goofy trying to get it to actually idle right.
So, and you're taking it to Chicago is where you're going to do the dyno tuning at?
Yeah. Because Joe Hyperactive's really good with that, with the Mtron system.
Yeah.
I don't really understand it. It's a little beyond my pay grade.
Right. Well, maybe you'll be able to pick his brain and pick some stuff up.
Hopefully. He's helped a lot so far.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like you only have time to only work on Randy's car right now either, but you've done a lot to it. I've had the opportunity to stop by the shop and see some of the work you've been doing, but you've also been doing school and working on your own car. Slowly. And then making some parts and pieces for some other people, right? Yeah,
a lot of parts and stuff. I took Trevor some parts today. I designed him a whole bunch of stuff for his truck so he can switch it over to Holly and whatnot. And so he's got all that stuff. And So what's the plan with the part stuff, like with LJB Motorsports and stuff? I just need to commit to it and advertise it and actually push that instead of beating around the bush with it. And it's just... Well, it's not like you're not busy, though. So I get it, but... That's a bad excuse, though. If I really wanted to push it, I would just make time for that, but I haven't. And so that's my fault. Yeah. I think that
you've come up with some cool stuff that I've seen on your car. Like, your car is a work of art for sure. I'm excited for people to see it.
The wheel has been reinvented about 6 or 7 times at this point. It's long way past where it started.
Yeah. Guess that's part of being, just trying to make it the way you want it. So you're getting there though. And then obviously you do a lot on your dad's car too.
Yep. And that's a whole disaster on its own. Somebody has unrealistic expectations of what's possible and what isn't.
It's all possible.
Man.
It's just whether he wants to put the effort in.
No. Some of it's totally unreasonable. Some of it's reasonable, and I don't want to put the effort in, but some of it's unreasonable.
There's nothing unreasonable.
Some of it's unreasonable.
Like what?
Yeah, like
Fixing the exhaust hole. He wants me to weld a sliver, an 1/8 inch wide sliver of sheet metal to the body. What? That's never good. I'm not that good. Someone else maybe, but it's a sliver. It's like this, just a little. I'm like, you got to cut out way more than that if you want that filled in. And then you're going to cut it out to match the exhaust hole. But you wanted a sliver. That's not reasonable.
Well, what is an example of something that was reasonable that you guys recently did?
Oh, the trunk hinges. Those
Trunk
are cool.
hinges are cool.
Those came out really well. So those are reasonable.
I got to see those when we did the chassis certs and stuff. And
Those work really well. So the ones that are on his car, those are the very first version. There was no prototype to that. They were the prototype, and they worked perfect.
Yeah.
And then we tried to adapt them to my car, and it just went out the window, and everything went horrible. So
they didn't work on your car?
No. We're like 7 different versions in at this point. We have like enough spare parts for me changing stuff at this point that we could build like 7 sets of hinges because my car was doing all kinds of goofy stuff. And like just stuff is, I don't know, it's my car, the bars in the trunk, they're a lot closer to the package tray. And so when you try to, when I designed it for his car, I had unlimited space. It's like 6 inches or something you have a ton of space above the bar to actually fit all the mechanism. Well, then we got to my car and I have 2 1/4 inch, I think is total. It might be less at the back, but I couldn't fit the mechanism in there. So I was trying to use the original mechanism I used with his. So the parts were interchangeable and it just wouldn't, I couldn't get the geometry right. And then when it would shut, it was doing goofy stuff and it was pulling up the corners because it was pulling it down too far. So I had to change all the geometry.
Which I'm sure is frustrating to you because you'd like to keep as many parts as interchangeable from his car to yours as you can, right?
Pretty much. I mean, my car's all built with all the spare parts from his car, all the stuff he didn't like or didn't want anymore or was worn out. So he strapped it on mine and we called it a day.
Is that how it went, Joe, or what?
no.
That's exactly how it went. He used to call it spare parts.
That was the name of your car?
Yeah,
Spare
spare
parts?
He walks into the parts room of all the new parts,
No.
and
Of
he
used
just
stuff.
grabs stuff off the shelf. And I walk over there, said, "Where do those polished turbos come from?" Well, they're in the parts room.
No.
You weren't using them.
No.
Or I'll look and see something else. So where'd that come from? I was in the room. Well, you weren't using it. It's okay.
It's all stuff he's pulled off of stuff.
But he's saying that all that is spare
I
parts.
know he calls it spare parts,
You called it spare parts.
but that's not quite the case.
Well, okay, so the turbos were mom's
Exactly.
because my turbos are on your car because you haven't put your turbos on your car.
Okay.
Spare parts. They were spares. They were sitting there.
I don't know. His transmission came
Is
out of his
your
mom's
old?
car.
No, that's your old transmission. Well, the one that's in the car is right now, but that's going to come out because that's mom's.
Exactly. The gear vendor's his mom's that she won.
That you won?
I won it. I did.
No, the gear vendor that's in there right now is the one that we thought you broke, but we don't know if it's broken. It's in there. We have no idea. If
So
good or
it's
bad.
one of the gear vendors.
It's one of them.
Yeah.
But I want to
Because-
hear about the one that Michelle won. How'd you win it?
At Drag Week.
For real?
Yeah, for
That's
real.
cool.
I won it. Yeah. Yeah, it was a pretty good deal. Randy was there. We raced the Mercedes all week long. We had a great time. We had a blast. We goofed off an awful lot and stopped on the roadside and took pictures and just had fun.
Right.
We were in the Mercedes, and we'd go get to the next stop at the hotel, and we just did the whole event and just had a blast, just goofing off. And then at the award ceremony, you have to be present to win the gear vendors. And they went through, I think I was number 6 or 7 on the list, and they do it, it's computerized. So the computer
like a
picks the
random
names. Yeah.
deal. Yeah.
And I heard my name, and Randy's like, that's you, Michelle. I'm like, go get it, Randy, because we had to carry that gear vendor
Right.
back to the pits. And I told Randy he didn't work out all week, so he could carry the gear vendor for me. And
Yeah.
I won
awesome.
a gear vendor. Yeah, it was really awesome. Yep. It's pretty exciting.
So I'm sure the long-term hope is for all 3 of you guys to race on the same day at the same place one time at least, right?
Yeah.
That'd be cool for sure.
Yeah, we just
That'd be real cool. I hope I'm there with a camera.
hopefully we're all alive still.
What do you think?
The rate I'm going, that's probably a good estimate there. Hopefully we're all still alive.
How long have you been working on your car?
It was right after, so we took the Trans Am to the first race week 2.0 when drag week got canceled in 2020. And
COVID time, right?
so I very first started working on the car right after I switched Randy's Trans Am back and put the original big block in it because we did a bunch to it for that race week. But so maybe mid 2021 was when I started working on it. And just, I started with something stupid. I think I started with the wing, which was silly. It was the side plates for the wing. It wasn't anything. And then since then, it's just gotten more and more out of control, fixing everything.
But I mean, to be clear, when you started on it, it was, just
It was a race car. Yeah. It was designed to be a race car, nothing more. And I mean, it was really it was a chassis and a body and the tin work.
Right.
And I mean, it didn't have anything to make it streetable. I mean, I don't know how would you describe that? It was a race car. It was designed to be a race car, and that was it. And
Well, it wasn't even really a roller at that time.
that's what I'm saying when you
didn't
picked
have
it
rear
up.
end,
Yeah.
didn't have 4-link. There's just there was a lot to be done from the beginning. I mean, there's been a lot of changes to the car because it was strictly built originally as a race car. Mm-hmm. So I mean, like the steering column, all that got cut out to put in actually an iDid-It column that's in a regular Tri-5 Chevy. It's got headlights, taillights, anything that makes it street so you can drive it down the street.
Right.
It's got power windows, things like that, which doesn't necessarily need, but before it would have just been Lexan that were bolted in where you couldn't roll down the windows.
Right.
So stuff like that. It has an automatic in it because it was built around a Lenco. So now it has automatic and gear vendors in it.
it was built around the Lenco with the Bruno, though. That caused us a whole bunch of problems at one point because the automatic pan is so far back. So the pan of the automatic isn't notched. It wouldn't clear where the 6C bar, maybe it's 6B bar is. I don't know. But it won't clear it because that bar wasn't quite far enough back for an automatic without notching the pan crazy forward. So like that, we fought with that for a long time trying to get that right. So then eventually, and then you couldn't actually get the tranny in because you couldn't fit it. You couldn't get it down and forward with that bar there. So we have to take it and that bar bolts in. So we had to cut all that. We had to cut that cross member out. And now you put the tranny in and then you put that bar up in there because there's no other way to clear it.
Right. And you did all that work yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we took the bandsaw to it one day, and I was sitting where the tranny is, and I had the bandsaw in my hand and cutting through there.
And then the A-arm stuff had to be remounted, so he cut all the A-arm stuff off in the front. And at that time, Jerry Bickle was in rehab, so we'd call Jerry, and he would help us while he was bored
Right.
to help Joey get it aligned correctly and put it where it needed to be.
That's cool.
So, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there's just a lot of thought, a lot of stuff that we just kind of Band-Aid on my car or work around
Yeah.
to try to make it better with his car.
Just because you've learned so much from your car, things that didn't work too, right?
Well, it's stuff that doesn't work and we continue to fight with it at every race.
Right.
Just because I don't know why. There's no good reason. But on his car, you don't have that. But I'm sure we'll find other stuff with his car that's going to be unique to that car.
Right.
But you won't know until you actually drive it down the road, drive it a couple 100 miles, and find out the problems it has.
Yeah.
And then it'll get updated on my car.
Right.
Hopefully.
There we go. Yeah. I mean, you know, it would be real cool to see all three of you guys racing at the same time. I think that'd be cool.
That'd be awesome. I mean, Joey blew up Michelle's motor, so we're waiting on 2 engines that I don't know. Hopefully someday they get done. That or I'll win the lotto and I'll just go buy 2 engines.
Right.
Be done with it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's really. I mean, if we can get the sheet metal done, or Michelle can get it done in her car. I mean, we have all the parts for her car. I mean, we have everything for it because it was a running driving car when we started,
Right.
and then we took it apart. So
A couple times now.
a couple
right?
times, now.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I think now it's the best version of what it started out to be.
Yeah.
It just took a while for us to get to that point.
And I started the trunk hinges. I told him I wanted my deck lid to open.
So that was your idea to start with.
Yep. I told him I wanted to put junk in my trunk and let's open that deck lid. I said, how am I going to carry a deck lid that's as wide as I am tall? The wind
Right.
catches me, I'm in trouble. So they did. We did get some hinges on there, and then Joey just ran with it.
Yeah.
Joey did a good job on them.
Was hers different too?
Mine
So-
doesn't have his design on it.
No,
Mine's,
so those are Cadillac hinges.
Oh,
So
okay.
those are kind of what I based mine off of, just trying to match that.
'Cause
what
it
they're-
worked.
Yeah, how they pivot.
Yeah.
So it's all about the pivot because you can't. So the way those trunks are, if you pivot them, if you just try to rotate them up, basically the pivot point has to be artificially like in front of where the package tray is. Otherwise, it hits the corners, and then you have the Zeus plates. So if you just flip it up, it tries to smack the Zeus plates. But if you basically what you do is you artificially make the pivot like a couple inches further back, and then what it does is like on his and mine's not as good, but it pops the back up slightly, and then it lifts the front, and then it does like one of these, and then it sets and it rests on itself.
Gotcha.
But I was copying the Cadillac design because Greg did use Cadillac hinges because he had the Cadillac, and so he knew what hinges to use or to get that geometry right, and it works. So basically, I used the Cadillac idea to make it functional.
Yeah. So Greg helped do the
Greg did mine.
trunk on your. Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
And I'm
Yep.
sure Joey will make me some. He takes good care of the mom.
Yeah.
She doesn't need any. Hers work perfect.
No. I need some, Joey.
She needs some of yours.
I do.
No, that's a nightmare because the bars in the back of her car are super duper low compared. You'd have something like this tall to make the hinges work in her car.
And hers is still deck lid, so the weight, it would just be a nightmare.
I'll work on it, Donnie.
There you go. So, talking a little bit more about still sitting no prep, I just think that all the classes are going to be competitive. We made some changes too. When we met, you and I and Trevor met and talked about the classes. We did away with small dollar, broke that into 2 classes, so that's going to get interesting too.
That'll either be really good or really bad. It'll be interesting to see where that goes. I mean, we'll let them get away with a lot more now with limited street, but I don't know that the cars will necessarily get faster because of that. I think they'll stay just as fast. It'll just be the cars that were slow in small dollar anyway, that have too much stuff going on for street dogs will still be slow, and they'll just be upset about that. And
Right.
it's like, oh well.
It's tough. I mean, it's tough coming up with rules in general. They're good rules.
I think we can continue to make improvements to them, and that'll only benefit them. I don't think they're bad.
I think that's what we did by splitting the class into two, right? Was an improvement because it was time. Same way Grocery Getter came about. That, you know, we needed another class for a group of cars that was racing in a class that they didn't necessarily fit. Like, they weren't fast enough to be in. So, but at some point, you know, we got, you know, I don't know how many classes.
Yeah,
You
because
know
you
what
can't
I
make
mean?
infinite classes, give everybody their own class, and then, oh, wait, there's no one to race. I'm the only car in here. And it's so you can't do that.
I know a couple guys, I'm not going to mention any names, but I know a couple guys that would like to have their own class.
That's dangerous because I will mention names.
But the thing is when you guys make the rules as promoters, the idea is to have classes as full as possible. That is what you're trying to do. Whereas from the racer standpoint, they're looking at everything that they can get that fits their car. So you're always going to be working against each other. Not that it has to be a bad thing, but that's how it works, because you guys each have your own agenda. I mean, for it to continue going and growing, the classes need to be full. You can't have 3 cars in a class and expect it to live. It eventually will slowly die. So, I mean, you got to do what's best to get the most cars in a class. And if that allows, you know, cars to have, I don't want to use the word get away with something, but to allow the cars to have more in the class,
Right.
to get more cars to enter the class, that you got to do it. I mean, it may not be the popular choice, but you still got to do it. Otherwise, if the race goes away because you can't fill the classes, there's nobody wins. It's you know, there's not. So, I mean, it would be nice if everyone looked at it. You know, when they make the rules, it's not like we're picking someone out or trying to keep someone out of a class, because that's the last thing you're trying to do. But you are trying to make sure these classes are full.
Yeah.
You know, or it has at least good enough turnout to keep going. I mean, because that's the whole idea of it. Otherwise, it's not gonna last.
And I mean, going into this 4th season, I'm sure in the very beginning there were some people who didn't think it'd last past the 1st season.
Yeah.
And each year it's grown, and I'd like to say it's been better for everybody. You know, all the racers overall. Not everybody's always happy with a call or decision, but that's at any race.
Yeah, I mean, and everything's going to be human based. You know, if you aren't happy with that human decisions or calls, then ideally you need to be on the front of the track where
Exactly.
you have all the electronic equipment. Then you can go argue with the Christmas tree.
I mean, this is the racing that a lot of guys have asked to see start happening at Pueblo, and then, you know, it's a little upsetting when, you know, they can't understand the human. I mean, that's part of what it is. Anywhere else they go, and whether that's a street race somewhere or a backside race that is a flashlight start and a camera finish, cameras for tire crack, that's going to be the element anywhere you go. There's going to be somebody that, you know, you should have trust in that's going to make those calls. And for me, taking myself out of that was important, you know. Having Joey and Evan and Trevor, you know, tech the cars to make sure they meet the rules of the class, even though I'm down there sometimes and kind of helping out or whatever. That way it's never said that I'm giving somebody some favoritism or whatever, because, you know, I know they aren't either. I have, you know, and I think that if somebody thinks that there's favoritism going on at a Steel City race, they should probably just stay home. You know, I think that whether someone likes me or someone likes you or they don't, we've been fair with any decisions, and Matt too, you know.
It's just
And
very
everybody.
disheartening because the effort that everyone puts into that. If they knew how hard it is to make those calls, I mean, ideally, I wish I never had to make a call whatsoever.
Right.
But that's not possible,
Exactly.
you know. And of course, everyone runs down there, and we don't have instant replay. We're not the NFL, so it isn't like, okay, let's go review this film 30 times and make a call. We're doing it on the cuff. I can't say that any of the calls I've made, I would change them. I
Right.
mean, even after reviewing them, I wouldn't change them.
Right.
I think they were made and I'll be the first to admit if I make a mistake.
And I'm the
I mean,
same
I have
way.
no problem doing that. But the thing is we're all human. I mean, whether it's the racer, getting antsy or thinking he can guess when I'm going to turn on the light, or however it comes about, or he swears he was ahead of the other guy at the finish line.
Right.
It's just, I mean, everything we do, we've tried to get it to simulate the electronic equipment with us all being human,
Right.
and that's the hardest part about it.
And I think that, there's nobody around here that I would trust to flag Steel City no prep. I mean, I shouldn't. I mean, there's Matt could do it. I trust Matt's integrity as well, right? But I don't. When you say that this is the call, like to me, that's what we're going with. Joey and they're up there the whole race filming for tire cracks. Like anybody who, I'm sure you could be out doing something a lot more fun. Like Hank, you know what I mean? Like you're not doing it for money. So when those calls come, I think they're genuinely what is felt is, hey, this is the call, right? And you guys got it to where there really shouldn't be a question. You look at the video, you can tell somebody jumped.
Well, and I think the bad part is if someone will tell you, yes, I guessed the light, but no, I didn't jump. I mean,
Yeah.
it's one of those things. It's just like, just listen to what you're saying.
Right.
I mean,
And sometimes it's a tough situation because, let's say, in watching it, maybe it was such a split second that Joey or Evan or Trevor, whoever's going to, has to rewind it a little bit. But the race has already happened. The guy with the camera line, the finish line camera, has already radioed back to Larry Myers, the announcer, who he's thinking won the race because he doesn't know that somebody jumped. All he's looking at is the finish line. Larry announces right lane won, and that really isn't the case. So that puts you in a tough position because the way that this works is, Joey or Evan find that somebody jumped and then they bring that to you and then you make the call of, hey, no, right lane didn't win, right lane jumped.
yeah.
And, and it's not fair to you for anybody to make you the bad guy in that situation, but it happens.
It does. And I can tell anyone that has a race team, whether it be their family or whatever, if you guys are on the starting line racing and after the race, if they see me walking back towards the starting line, do not start jumping up and cheering.
Right.
Because there's reason I'm walking back.
Yeah.
It isn't walking back to give a high five to Joey.
Yeah.
It's because I seen something and that's why I'm walking back.
Yeah.
So if they take that in consideration, watch what I do, because if I'm walking back, the call's not final yet.
Yeah.
I mean, because I've got the first year, I probably didn't have a handle. I had to rely more on Joey, but now I can pretty much tell when they're jumping
Right.
or they're moving where I need to look at the.
Yeah. And if you start walking towards the starting line, I mean, it is your son that's on the starting line filming. So I'm sure sometimes if you see him looking, you get a, I wonder if he saw something, and then you're coming up to talk to him, and he's like, yeah.
I mean,
And
because
then,
that happens a lot. But I will look at him first, and he'll give me a thumbs up. But if I'm just walking and there's no,
right,
you know that it's something it's and it doesn't always mean it's a jump, but it's. I think last year, pretty much every time I walked back, it was a.
We can pretty much catch it on the starting line. I've watched enough of them now. I can pretty much tell you instantly if it
Without
is
the
or isn't.
camera.
right.
Yeah,
That's
'cause
what
You don't
I've
really
tapped
need
Joey
it.
on the shoulder when he's down low. I just tap him on the shoulder, and he's like, "I got it, Mom. I saw it too."
Yeah,
I mean, you see it.
that's what I'm saying. And I mean, who knows how many passes it's been? It's been a lot.
I
3
think we
years.
have like 700 videos in that because we
Yeah.
have that shared folder of all the videos
Yeah,
I've taken on the
that's what
starting
I'm
line.
saying.
And there's,
A
I mean,
lot.
it's like 700 or something in there right now.
So, I mean, it's not like, probably the biggest thing that makes me proud to be a part of it is it has been the same team, even though sometimes maybe some of us haven't seen eye to eye on certain things or whatever. The positive part of that for us and for the racers and for any spectators there that are watching the race, is just that we're working with the same people. So we kind of know what to expect from each other, and I think that benefits the racer, in my opinion.
It does. It does. I mean, it's tough at times, obviously,
Yeah,
but I think it always comes to benefit. Well, and it's always been for the benefit of the racers. It's not. I
Absolutely.
mean, that's unsaid. I mean, it just. I think everyone has the same idea. It's just how we get there, maybe.
Yeah.
And it's just,
I mean, if I was racing and I was going to the same place to race on the backside or the same street everybody's racing at, and every time I went there, it was a different flagger or a different finish line camera guy or 2 different dudes every race doing tire crack videos or, somebody else that's managing the class, doing chip draws and stuff. I would have more concern than when I go to an event that doesn't have timing equipment, is left to human error. At least it's the same humans every time.
and the people handling the classes, I think they have an interesting dynamic that I don't have to deal with, thankfully.
Right.
But they work with them. They know the people in the classes, and they work well with the classes, the people. They also know when the people are,
Pushing it.
pushing it. I mean, I've tried to use a correct, and so they've learned to deal with that in their
Right.
own ways. Each one of them deals with it in their own ways, and it works. I mean, because we don't have. I mean, I think each race has got better from that aspect, is because they've learned. So, however they're doing it back there, I don't know, but it's made it smoother from what I see.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I think, I don't know, I think that the last race we did, the survival race with the tent and all that was probably, we should do that
like
every
that.
race, right?
Yeah.
To where the chip draw, I thought
good.
that went pretty well.
And Larry was there. He could have.
It made it
everybody's
easier.
names.
Yeah. I think it made it
up
easier
and-
for the spectators because Larry could talk to you guys and see everything.
And the 4 of us communicate individually during the whole thing. So that really helps too, I think.
Yeah.
And I really like the last race at the end of the season. Are we going to do that again
Yeah.
where it's,
Yeah.
okay, good.
Where they
Have to participate or win or.
Yeah, so the survival of the fastest race, or whatever we want to call it, it's not even really about the name. It's just the format of it is they have to win runner-up or go out in the semis of one of the 4 races to be eligible to race in that race for larger payouts. Small tire paid out $10,000 for the survival race last year, where it was $5,000 for the 4 races during the season. But and then if you have a multiple winner, like somebody won small tire twice or whatever, then that opens up, a lottery invite for somebody who at least raced in, in that class during the season. And I'm guessing we're going to stick with the rule that you win twice in grocery getter or.
Yeah, I think we left that in there, right?
Yeah.
I think so. So, yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason to get rid of it. I mean,
There's no reason to let somebody win until you're like small tire unlimited.
Exactly. Because, I mean, even with small dollar, I think the fast small dollar guys could have easily, they were competitive with the midfield of small tire, and despite denying it, but they absolutely were. I mean, you can watch the cars. We know how quick you are. And it's like, so, yeah, I mean, at some point, if you're just dominating a small dollar at the time, move up. It's not that hard. And so, but I think like with the limited street, I think that's what we call it, limited street. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think we still
Street
did it with
dogs.
that. Yeah. And like those cars, I mean, if you're fast enough that you're just dominating and you go 2 in a row, you are definitely fast enough probably to fit in the next class up, because there's a lot of overlap, I think, in ET between those two classes, at least for the midfield. I mean, I don't think there was any small dollar cars that would be competing on top end of small tire, but definitely midfield, absolutely. You're going to go a couple rounds.
Yep. I mean, I think it's going to be interesting to see in those 2 new classes, who's doing what for sure. I mean, it sounds like, one cool thing I thought was we really didn't get any kickback on the rules. Like,
No, not for those two. Not at
really,
all. I don't think.
Did you have anybody like hitting you up all upset? I didn't really.
I don't think so. I think those two classes were actually really quiet. I think it was small tire that was the biggest one.
Yeah. Small tire had little issues.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
But I also think that like grocery getter, I'm pretty sure grocery getter will be quicker than street dogs by quite a bit.
You think so?
I think so. I think grocery getter, the fast grocery getter cars, absolutely every day of the week. They're going to ruin street dogs if they were in that class. But most of them, I don't think they won't fit for the most part in there. But I think the fast grocery getter cars, I think like Mark's BMW, I think that would wipe the floor with anything anybody, at least for this season, will wipe the floor with anything anybody will show up with in street dogs.
Well, street dogs was kind of put together to give some people who weren't fitting
Either or.
some old muscle cars and stuff.
Yeah,
Somewhere
give
to
them
race
somewhere
to.
to go.
And this is probably not a place to ask, but Mark's not in grocery getter anymore. So what's going to happen?
He's in limited street.
I thought he wouldn't be in street
But I
dogs.
think, no, I don't think, well,
I think he took himself out of grocery getter.
he
I
did.
think technically, if he still fits grocery getter rules, I don't have any problem with him racing in grocery
and in
getter.
the past,
but-
when we did the rule reset, like last year, anybody that was past that 2 race boundary already, we let them back in. They could go again.
Okay, I was curious
So,
about that.
I mean, this year he should be able, we reset everything, so
but what if he wants to run street dogs?
he can.
he can. If it's legal, he can.
Well, I'm just.
I mean, I don't know. I'd have to go look at the rules again. It's been a while since I looked at
Yeah.
it. But, I mean, he'd be either there or limited street. But I don't know for sure if he would fit into street dogs. He might.
I'm just being devil's advocate because of what you said.
No, you've got a point.
Mark, he took himself out.
Yeah,
I mean, he
that's a
stood up to what he
stand-up
said.
dude. Yeah, I mean, you figure he went, he went to the finals or semifinals in grocery getter a lot over the 3 years, and then he told all of us that if he won a race in grocery getter, he didn't need to. He was going to move himself up. But there was a lot of hate on him in even grocery getter. But he fit the rules.
Well, and how much more street car do you get than that car?
I know.
I mean, that's, 5,000 pounds of 4-door BMW. And
Yep.
Well, you got him and Eddie. I mean, both those cars are.
Yeah.
I mean, both heavy cars. Both. I mean, daily drivers basically for what they are.
you could drive them anywhere you wanted to.
I'm just looking forward to getting going. I'm bummed we didn't get to go out there today, but there's a reason for everything, right?
Yep.
There's a lot of people hitting me up asking me if we're going to be able to reschedule the test day. I don't really have a solid answer on how to do that. I've been trying to think about it. The schedule isn't going to allow for it to happen. I don't know. It just may be one of those things that this year there's not a test day, because remember we lost the December test day too.
Did we? I don't remember. I would like to see it the first race without a test, only because
I'm a
I think
fan
it'll
of that,
shake.
too.
I think it'll shake it up. I mean, from all the people that that I hear, oh, it's too sticky or scrape it or this. Well, I think this is a perfect way to do that, because
Right.
it's going to shake it up, because they're going to have figured out really fast.
Yeah.
And it shakes it up. I think it'll set the tone for the other races.
Yeah.
I think I have fun at the test days, but it definitely, I think the guys that have taken advantage of it have made huge leaps and bounds.
For sure.
I mean, I know two of the cars that, they were probably some of the slower cars in small tire, and now they're as fast as anyone in small tire. So, either way, I'm good with whatever. It doesn't affect me, but I like seeing it shaken up, just because I think it'll make them have to think and work harder.
So, but yeah, I don't know. I always try to come up with a way to try to meet everybody's needs or whatever, but the schedule is just too tight. There's really nowhere between now and May 24th to have a spring test day. And, our thought process behind the test day was never really about people testing for the race. It was to get their car out, before the season starts, to shake it out if they did some stuff over the winter, or people who had been watching Steel City all season long, coming and hearing about it, whatever, and wanted to see what their car would do down there before having to be competitive. And that's what it was all about. It was never, those test days have not been a test day for the race. So maybe you're right. Maybe we just,
It's just, I'm sure the racers won't be happy with my thoughts, but
I don't know.
it's just, I know certain guys that were out testing yesterday morning on the street. So
Yeah.
they were testing for the test day.
Testing for the test day?
Yeah.
Man.
They were on the street testing so they could come today. So
They were probably pretty bummed we didn't get to do it then.
yeah. It's just, they at least were able to test,
Yeah.
So we'll just see. It just, if we get all the races in without weather, and we just lose the test because of weather, I think that's probably.
Yeah. And we've been pretty fortunate each season. I think last year is the only year that we've lost an actual race, right?
Correct. We had rain at the last race or the race before the last race, but it cleared up, and it went well.
One other thing about Steel City I would like to mention is Robin Jones Photography. That guy's a soldier, isn't he? Man,
Yes, he is.
he's been in every one of them.
Yeah, he is. He was bringing me gifts today too.
Did he?
He was going to.
Oh yeah. Well, at the test day, him and his wife, it's cool to see that she's interested in coming to the races with him now, and hanging out and taking some pictures of her own, I believe, and some video. But they came to the test and tune last Saturday, and he gave me. Have you seen the poker chips that he's making?
Yes.
He gave me one of those that had the Steel City logo on it and stuff, and they're really cool. For the survival race, whoever gets in the race, he's going to make one with their car on it, since we'll know who's going to be in the 16 cars in each class before we race.
That'll be cool.
And then we can use those for pulling in
That'd be fun.
some way, and then the racer gets to keep it. And I think it's cool. But
No. just, you know, each race and each year it's got better. I mean, it's just a little bit as you learn to go.
This year will be cool because the goal, and I've got the equipment. I just got to work through some glitches and do some practice with it, but we'll be able to live stream the races as well. I think that's going to be cool for anybody not around that is wondering what we're doing. You know, and then Joey and Trevor and I and Joe, whenever you want to come and be part of it, are going to do some stuff in here, some recaps of the races. I think that'll be cool.
I'll listen.
You'll listen. It's
Yeah,
gonna be a
I don't
fun
know
one.
if I can.
Talk about the races right afterwards.
Yeah,
It's a tough situation, huh?
it's a bad situation.
Kind of
Yeah.
sounds like fun to me.
No. Yeah, no. It just, I don't know. We'll see what happens. It just depends on the race. I mean, it's much easier if we don't have to make calls. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the worst part of it, is having to make those calls, because I would rather not have to make them.
Yeah.
But there's no way. I mean, it has to be done, and I get no benefit
right.
how I do it. It's the only thing I do is one person's going to be happy and one person's going to be mad.
Right.
There's not, I never come out of it where people understand. It's very rare, so.
I lost a few bets on Joe's calls.
You did?
Yeah, and that's what the crazy part is if I was benefiting anything from it.
Right.
But
No, I mean, yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting season. But, I definitely appreciate you guys coming on to my second episode here.
we're probably hard to follow up the Antons.
No,
I don't know.
no, that was a good one too. And, it's awesome to have the Barrys on,
Okay.
It is.
I think it'll be good. I think especially doing this stuff after the races.
Yeah.
I think that'll
be fun.
It'll definitely be a positive. And then doing what going around talking to the racers at the track. I think that's
Yeah, with Larry
I think
Myers,
that'll be
that's
a
gonna be
neat
fun.
addition.
And yeah, from the staging lanes, I think that'll be good for just any racer there on a Friday night. Even will be fun.
I mean, all this only helps. It's benefit, and I think it's the way of the world. It's going in the right direction, and it helps the track ultimately.
And anything that puts the sport of drag racing out there for people, to come across it and maybe get interested in it if they're not, seems like there's a lot of companies and tracks that are struggling right now to make it. So the more people that participate, the better it is for everybody.
Agreed.
And, I'm very thankful for you guys for coming on. Means a lot to me.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
And I'm thankful for Alpine Ford for letting me start this here, and hopefully I continue to get to be better as a host of a podcast, right?
No.
But I definitely appreciate you guys.
Thank you
Thank you, Donnie.
very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Joey. Appreciate you.